Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Buddy Study Group. And today we're joined by Tommy Jondall of EquiTrust, and he is going to take us through the wonders of the Bridge product. Of course, if you've been on these study groups, you've heard us refer to the Bridge product quite a lot. It's got a lot of differentiation and fits a lot of different potential clients and situations. There have been a lot of good changes to the product recently that we want you to hear about. So Tommy's here to help us share that. Tommy, welcome to your first study group, and whenever you're ready, you can take it away. Appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason and team. I appreciate you, one, for allowing me to be on here, and then everybody else for jumping on the call. Bridge, yes, just like Jason mentioned, we made some very positive changes around the first week of January. Already a very strong product to begin with. And then with the changes that we just put in place, it has made it, what's the easiest way to say it? A very easy sale for a lot of folks to make. I've got some agents that have just picked up this product in January and already have over 20 applications in-house. So if you can get your pitch down, you can get your story down. This is something that everybody is really liking. And honestly, I feel like it's something that the industry has needed, right? It's as Jason and I were talking, it's one of the only 7702B compliant long-term care annuity hybrids on a fixed indexed annuity chassis. And so what it can do when you transfer non-qualified funds on over to it, from a tax standpoint and a tax mitigation standpoint, is phenomenal. We're hoping that later on, at some point down the road, we can also allow for qualified funds. I'm sure there's a lot of hoops that we have to jump through to make sure that everything works moving forward. But right now, it's just non-qualified funds only. So first and foremost, the way we're able to do what we're able to do is because it is on an FIA chassis. And so we're going to take Bridge from an accumulation FIA standpoint, and we're going to add this LTC piece to it. And through the unique design, we allow for tax-free income by way of claims as long as you're under the IRS per diem rules. So with this, we've got the tax deferred growth on the FIA chassis, and then we've got our guaranteed approval. No matter what, every single person can qualify as long as they meet suitability of the FIA. I had somebody 3 weeks ago. I feel like I've told this story 5 times today because I have. But 3 weeks ago, we had a lady that was stage 3 Parkinson's that was preferred. So again, it's a different setup. It's a very unique but strong offering in the marketplace where every single person can qualify. And then you also have the ability to grow that benefit base by way of a guaranteed roll-up along with what's called the Never Stop Wellness Program. So first item to tackle here, underwriting. It is a very simplified process. It's state-of-the-art. You get an answer in less than 30 minutes of the client taking this. Again, it's guaranteed approval for the LTC benefits. No one is declined. And then there's 3 classes that you can fall into. You either fall into secure, which is the lowest, standard, which is the middle, or preferred, which is the highest. Now, from a production standpoint, when I get the report every Monday, we are running at 70% of folks being preferred. I think that's an awesome opportunity to help leverage those dollars that folks are moving on over into this vehicle. Preferred is somewhere between 300% or more on whatever they put into the product, and we're not we're based on morbidity and not mortality, so we're not trying to rule anybody out. I think that's a big differentiator there also, and how somebody with stage 3 Parkinson's can get preferred. There's no medical records, no prescription. You've got 5 screening questions that'll essentially be your start out to the underwriting process. It's going to be things like, do you need any help with 2 of the 6 activities of daily living? Do you currently use a wheelchair or a scooter or anything to get around? And then the third one is, do you currently live in like a nursing home facility or assisted living or anything like that? Those are the first 3 questions. If they answer yes to any of those 3, automatically bypass underwriting because they're going to get secured. They're still going to get the leverage on their contract, they just automatically get secure if they answer yes to those first three. If number 4 or 5 are a yes, then they can get standard. And if they don't do well in the underwriting process with the underwriting person, then they could still get secure, but they're most likely going to get standard. And those next two questions are, have you had any of the following situations arise in the past 5 years? And it's like cancer, heart attack, stroke, that type of thing. It lists exactly what it is, and take it literally. If they haven't had that, the answer is no. If they have had it, take it yes. Because I get all the time, this person has breast cancer, but it's not metastatic, and it doesn't ask about breast cancer, and it only asks about metastatic. Then the answer is going to be no. I'm not trying to trick anybody. We're just going to take it as literal as it is. And question number 5 is, in the last 5 years, have you received Social Security benefits? Again, if they answer that, they're probably going to get secure. Do move forward with the underwriting process, but most likely they're going to get, most likely they're going to get standard, which is that middle grade, not secure. The Wellness Never Stop program. This one I get a lot of questions on. I feel like folks are a little bit nervous turning some stuff over to a third-party group, and I would really, really like you to try and dig in a little bit on the microsite for Bridge on the EquiTrust website and just review the information about the Never Stop program. I think this is awesome. It doesn't help EquiTrust. We don't make extra money as the sales guy telling you to utilize this or get your clients to utilize this. Every single person that does a bridge contract automatically gets the Never Stop program included. There is a $100 fee every year for this, or $200 every 2 years, but they get credits for doing things through this program every 2 years on their benefit base. Okay? It's very important because they can do things like getting their hearing checked, because we know that there's a tie between hearing loss and dementia, or going to the dentist. We know that there's a tie between gum disease and heart disease. Or if somebody is retired and there's nobody there that's with them or spending time with them, maybe they're staying up late at night watching Netflix. One of the things that their ally that they'll meet with to create this personalized aging map and wellness plan will have them download the call map. And what the call map does is it gives them a reminder on their cell phone to shut the TV off or to shut their cell phone down around 9:30, 10 o'clock so their body can relax and then they can go to bed at a decent time. It's simple things like that. It's nothing like we're trying to take a couch potato and turn them into a triathlete. They are just trying to find things that that person likes that they can do and implement. And then every 2 years, they get credits, which are dollars, to their benefit base. Okay. And there's a case study with Derek here in a little bit that'll show that. But product details, it's as simple as issue ages 50 to 80. Anybody between 50 and 80 can qualify for it. It's $50,000 minimum, non-qualified funds. It is flexible premium, and you get a coverage ratio that you'll see here in a second on a chart.
I threw that in the chat for you, Tommy. Sorry to interrupt, but you've got a nice PDF on the microsite that really by age, it'll give you the ratios based on your underwriting.
And that helps you sell on concept, right? If you're 50 years old and you've got $100,000, you can look at that chart, and if they fall into preferred, you know exactly what that percentage is. It's 330%. So if they put 100 grand in, their benefit base is immediately 330. It's very easy to understand. It breaks it down by preferred, standard, and secured. But the nice thing is any premium in the first 5 years, they now get that coverage ratio. It used to be only in the first year, and then anything after that was dollar for dollar on your benefit base. Now it's any premium in the first 5 years gets that coverage ratio leverage. And then anything after 5 years, you get dollar for dollar. Great question that just popped up. I think this is something that we can tackle right now. Yes, there is a 5-year ramp up. So there's a vesting period for your benefit base. The first year, it's 20%. The second year, it's 40%. The third year, it's 60%. The fourth year, it's 80%. In the fifth year, they're 100% vested in their benefit base. Great question. There is still penalty-free withdrawals that you can take out of the contract. And it's after the first year, it's 10%. And then because, again, this is an FIA chassis, the goal is to grow the money for the client, right? This is that what if worst case scenario type of product that's protecting their entire nest egg. So we want to make sure we get the growth on the contract itself. You see here we've got a fixed account at 5%, an annual point-to-point cap at 9%, and a one-year par on the S&P at 50%. Yes, I have a 200% mark. Yes, in January that just knocked out a 23, almost a 24% return.
Tommy,
But
I'm sorry. If you were planning to be sharing, we're not seeing your screen.
oh, what? All
You're
right.
doing a great job just by color commentary, I will say.
100%.
I
I have
just
been
realized.
clicking through these. Awesome. That's hilarious. I have been clicking through these and thought I was crushing it, tying it back in without
You
being the
still
guy
are.
that seats word for word from the slide. I've literally been like, how can I not be that guy? That's hilarious. Okay. Well, sorry, everyone. Yes, the rates you can see here are awesome. It's like an accumulation FIA, but you still get the power of the LTC product on there. Here's the beautiful chart. And I'm really glad this is pulled up now because here's that beautiful chart that we were just talking about. Sell on concept. If you have a 55, or excuse me, a 50-year-old person that has, maybe they're a business owner, what have you, they're wealthy, but they do want to plan for this. They have $100,000 of non-qualified funds that there's something that they want to do with, and they're concerned about this. They will know if they get preferred, which 70% of people are currently getting preferred, no matter the age range. That's the total of all of them, 70%. They would immediately get $330,000 on their benefit base. 100,000 in the account value, 300,000 on the benefit base. Now with that, because this is LTC, there are fees. There is a 1% premium load. So if they did put 100,000 in it, day one it would be 99,000 immediately. And then there's a monthly rider charge that's just based on their attained age, their net amount at risk, which is the difference between the benefit base and the account value. We subtract those. And then multiplied by their vesting percentage that we already had the question on. So in the first year, it would be multiplied by 20%. That's going to be their monthly rider charge. Go figure, with something along the lines of LTC, there is a fee that's ongoing. But the nice thing is, because that growth opportunity is so strong on the account value, as we get closer towards the benefit base and the account value growing, we can start seeing that fee come down. January 1st, as Jason already talked about, we made some of those transition rules. Again, we lowered the issue age from 55 down to 50. We've picked up a ton of contracts between 50 and 55 for a lot of folks right now. The benefit base roll up increased and got quite a bit better. It went from a 2% roll up to a 3% roll up, and that'll be for 20 years. It's guaranteed, and it is compound. The only way to stop that is if they go on claim. So if something happens and they meet 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, or they have severe cognitive impairment, that's when they will go on claim. We have a 7-page form that they will fill out. I'm pretty sure 5.5 of that is all disclaimers about HIPAA and whatnot. The main part of the page is just client's name, client's date of birth, physician's name, what's going on with them, and why can't they meet 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, which 2 of the 6 can they not do, and then what's the plan of care. There's a section that says what's the plan of care. Doctor signs it, client signs it, you send that in, we start kicking out their claim money, which is 60 payments of that benefit base. Like I mentioned earlier when I thought I was pointing out all these cool things in the slides, the benefit base coverage ratio is now extended past first year premiums only. It is all premiums in the first 5 years, which I think is a huge benefit, especially if people are pulling money from CDs from a client that's been laddering CDs, or this other cool thing that I used to always get calls about of what can we do and how much can you take? A little thing called RMDs, right? They've got to come out. They've got to be non-qualified funds now. Great way to add additional premiums into this contract, especially in the first 5 years, and really leverage those dollars. The wellness credits are now based on the benefit base instead of the net amount at risk, which can also increase the amount that they can get. So that was kind of a nice little feature that we increased also. I mentioned there's a case study at the end. This is Derek. Meet Derek. He has 400,000 in assets. He has all the things that we're concerned about. He wants to live independently as long as possible. He wants to preserve and grow his assets, and he doesn't want to be a burden for his children as he ages. So he takes a quarter of his portfolio he takes 100,000 from his overall portfolio, puts it into bridge at 55. He is preferred. He immediately gets 325%. So his initial benefit base is now 325%. At age 70, he goes on claim. So 15 years from now. So he almost has 8 wellness credit that add on to his benefit base because it's every 2 years. So he's had 7. He would have got 8 at the 16-year mark, but he goes on claim. He's injured in an auto accident. He can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. At this point, his benefit base that was 325 is now 506 with the 3% guaranteed roll-up. His wellness credits are almost $50,000, and keep in mind, it cost him over that time frame, 15 years, $1,500, which again is why I encourage folks to let clients know that somebody's going to be reaching out and it's okay. They're not trying to do anything weird because we get that a lot. Like, who are these guys and what do they want? And I need to talk to them before my client talks to them. No, they're just trying to set it up for this program. And if I had to be honest, I would assume it's some sort of study type group also, because there's a lot of doctors and scientists that are part of Assured Allies. I think what they're trying to do is to see if you can implement simple things, whether you can increase longevity for a number of folks. That's kind of the feeling that I've got. And I come from that world. I was a psychology major, so there's a lot of tests and studies that we went over, and that's what it feels like when I talk to Assured Allied folks. But anyways, the wellness credits stack on top of the benefit base. The benefit base at claim is 554,000. So if you divide that by 60 payments, you're coming out to the 92.37 a month. Now, the question that I always get is, Tommy, what happens if they get better? Fine. They've got 60 months, whether they use it all in one shot or not. So if the first time, they have this automobile accident and they're on claim for 10 months and then they get better because of physical therapy and whatnot, you can shut those off. You only use 10 months. So down the road, you still have another 50 months. It doesn't start stacking up again. You don't get your guaranteed roll up or anything like that on the money again or anything like that, but you still have that down the road. Sales opportunities, 1035 exchanges from other annuities that aren't growing, that aren't getting a 5% fixed or a 50% par on the S&P. Old life insurance contracts that are just kind of sitting around, not really doing anything. And maybe there's now a change of objective. Maybe more than a legacy play, they need something for health. RMD money, just like I said, I used to get those calls all the time at the previous carriers. How much will you take into your contracts that are flexible premium? Because I've got all this RMD money and the client wants to do something. We would stuff it into their life policies, but it's not a good fit. Money market, checking, savings, CDs, right? Any of that dusty money that clients can get definitely much more lift on growth. Plus, they can leverage those dollars. Anybody that's previously uninsurable for traditional LTC, again, it's guaranteed approval. Every single person qualifies. They might get secured, but they're still going to qualify. And then annual reviews, just bring it up. The number one sales idea that we've been using that works. I had 2 people reach out to me this week that it worked with. These 3 things. If you're in a client event, if you're at a dinner event, if you're doing an educational seminar, I've got a guy that does it on TikTok and it works. Okay. These 3 statements. Raise your hand if you're between 55 and 80. You already know that, right? Because you're the one who's holding the event or you sent the mailers out. Raise your hand if you're between 55 and 80. Everybody in the room raises their hand. Okay, perfect. Put your hand up. Raise your hand if you think long-term care is expensive or hard to qualify for. Anybody that knows anything in that room is going to raise their hand. Perfect. There is a new product on the market that isn't expensive and every single person can qualify for. If you're interested, either mark down on your sheet that you want more information or see me after this. And then I told them, say it again. Say, I know this room is big and sometimes it's hard to hear, so let me say that last part one more time. There's a new product on the market that isn't expensive and every single person can qualify for. See me after this or indicate on your sheet that you'd like more information on this. That's their walk away. The lady in Philadelphia that does this does dinner seminars. She used to have a conversion ratio of about 62% of the people that would go to the dinner seminar that was about IRMA and Social Security and taxes. She would have a 60-ish% conversion ratio from dinner seminar to first office meeting. She started saying these three things. She's at like a 92% conversion ratio from dinner seminar to meetings. Okay. I was just at an event down in Orlando, beginning of this month. Met one of my big producers from my previous company. He said, Tommy, what's going on at EquiTrust? I said, Bridge. So you have to get with Bridge. He's in Arizona. I said, say these three things. He just put on his first monthly client breakfast that he's going to start doing specifically for Bridge. He's doing the same thing. He's talking about taxes, Social Security, IRMA, and then he throws this out at the end. I talked to him on Monday because I did this presentation for his entire office, 13 folks. And I said, how did that first client breakfast go? He said, we're going to start doing it every month. And you're never going to believe this. And I said, what? He said, I thought he was going to say it flopped, right? Because we have that relationship. He likes to poke me a little bit. I said, what? And he said, 80% of the people in there indicated on my sign-in sheet that they wanted more info on Bridge. And we've already started 2 applications. And that was on Monday. So 2-3 weeks from when I told him to implement it, he implemented it. 80% of the people in that meeting wanted info on Bridge. 2 of them had already started filling out an application. So it's a great opportunity to help close business. It's a great opportunity to utilize this product because of how strong it is. The first thing I'll say is if you haven't done it yet, I saw something in the comments about the website. Jump on out to the EquiTrust website. There's a microsite specific to Bridge. We have it specific to a couple other key products as well. But that's where you can find the videos. That's where you can find all the marketing materials, the application, the illustration, your calculators. It talks about underwriting. It talks about those 5 questions that I mentioned. It's a great spot to try and figure out where you can gather more info about Bridge and some of the key things about Bridge. One of them that I like is it talks about the underwriting process a little bit. And here's what I can say. This is where I see most of the situations where something doesn't go as planned. It's the underwriting call. And that underwriting call, I see it most often when the client is not in the office. It's a client that's across state lines. It's a previous client somewhere halfway across the country. Control as much of this that you can control. And what I mean by that is if you can get the client in the office, set them down at a computer in your office that has good lighting, that has strong Wi-Fi connection, that has good speakers, and that has a chair that isn't on wheels like mine. Because one of the things they're going to say is stand up and sit down 5 times in 30 seconds, I believe is the actual statement. Well, if they've got a chair with wheels, right, that's going to throw it off a little bit. And the underwriter's job isn't, again, to pull medical records, prescription lists, anything like that. It's not your traditional underwriting. It's this virtual call. They need to figure out whether this person is cognitively all there, needs help with 2 to 6 activities of daily living, and is either preferred, standard, or secured. And that's it. And this is where somebody who is 67 years old and is a nurse and works out 3 times a week and hasn't had a carb since '08, they don't see that. You see that, your client knows that, but all this person knows is when Mrs. Jones went to stand up, she was slow. She only stood up like three times instead of five times in 30 seconds. So there must be something there and an issue with two of the six activities of daily living. They don't know that she lives in Minnesota and they just had 12 inches of snow and she lives alone and she just had to scoop it all by herself. So her back and her legs are sore. Okay. Control what you can control in these. Again, if somebody's done something physical and exerted themselves and they're going to have issues with showing that they can do two of the six activities of daily living, reschedule the underwriting process. Or if they have allergies and so their ears are stuffy and they can't hear very well, reschedule the underwriting process. Because if you get an underwriting class that you don't like or you don't think is right, you have to wait 90 days to reapply. And that first interview that they have is not, it's not like it's played against the second one and holds any weight against that. It doesn't. But there is a 90-day period, right? So we're delaying it about 3 months. And I know with insurance type of business, especially like this with an annuity, it's already a long process. It's kind of a hard, scary process. Nobody wants to have to circle back with clients every 90 days. That feels like somebody's going to walk away and not answer my call when I go to call them. At least that's how it would have been in my practice. Granted, I'm not as established or as well versed in this type of stuff as you folks are, but I know any scenario where I had to go back to the client and try and get them back in or try and resell them typically didn't go well. So I don't want that for you guys. Try and control what you can control through that process. Again, make sure that that person, if they're not in your office, there's volumes all the way up. They have strong Wi-Fi. They have good lighting. They have a chair that's stable that they can get up from and get down from. Go through some of those things that they talk about on the website about underwriting so they can have a good idea of what the process is going to look like, because that's where I see some of the snags.
Yeah.
EquiTrust, two last things here outside of Bridge. Just we made an increase on our tiered compensation program. So we have a $5 million level, a $10 million, and a $15 million level. So we were very excited to announce that. I think this is going to go over real well with a lot of folks because Bridge, you can go to new clients, you can go back through your old clients, and every single person can qualify for that. And along with the tiered compensation program, we also have our top trip. It's Whistler, British Columbia, Canada. It'll be in September. Your qualifying dates you can see there on the screen. In production requirements, it's top 40 folks that we take on that. So EquiTrust is a strong carrier. They've been awesome on rates and products. Honestly, when I'm rolling through these different webinars or if I'm doing an event in person, it's hard to drill down to certain products. We have 13 products and every one of them is extremely competitive. Whether you're writing bonus FIAs, accumulation FIAs, if you're writing the industry brand new boost product, which is the middle ground between an accumulation FIA and a bonus FIA, it's a boost, it's 40%, there's no fees, and then you have ridiculously strong rates on it. Wealth Max, our MIGA, our traditional. I mean, there's so many different offerings that are extremely competitive right now. And then we came around, bumped up the compensation program and the top trips. So that's what I have for you guys. Do you have any questions that we haven't already tackled?
Yeah, I think we got a couple in the chat. Do you ask about IADLs as part of underwriting? That was what Romeo had asked. So instrumental activities of daily living, so medication
It's
management, things of that nature.
nope, it's as simple as the two of the six activities of daily living, and I can grab that doctor's form here too and show you exactly what that looks like if you'd like to. So, good question.
There's some folks campaigning for Indiana availability, though you are not the powers that
Yes,
be. You know,
yes,
we manifest what we want in this life, correct?
yeah, we are
Um,
in Indiana so bad. There's a hang up there. Jason was talking to it about with a guy there. I don't know why Indiana doesn't like it, but there's something about the product that they don't like, and they will not approve it. So we are trying to work with them and get that figured out.
Indiana is not all no answers, but they do have their pockets of
Yes, yes.
delays. Not California or New York bad, but um, So Romeo's asking in your case study that you did,
Yep.
in the case of a death of the insured, how much
Hmm.
money would go to their heirs in that
Whatever's in the
case?
account value.
Perfect.
Yep.
Wait, all $555,000 goes to the heirs?
Whatever's in the account value, not the benefit base.
Right. What would the account value be in that case, roughly, to within 50 grand?
Well, if
200,
I go just
250, whatever it grew to, right?
yeah, whatever it grew to. So if I was just going off of here, I've got an illustration that I can share. It depends on what the allocation is, but let me grab 65. I think I just did that yesterday. Throw it over here and I can show you. That would be the non-guaranteed rates. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Come off this page. I will reshare, so I'm not talking about something and you guys are wondering what I'm talking about here. There you go. So 65-year-old throws $100,000 sharing. 65-year-old throws $100,000. Their coverage ratio, because they got preferred, is 315. They put 100 grand in premium. Their account value was 107. They die at 80. It's 255 grand. They die at 95 at 624,000.
Excellent.
Anybody else have any questions for Tommy or want to see any sort of demo on anything Bridge? I still just have to give a boost to their microsite. No login required, guys. No appointment required to get access to all of this information. It is available to you instantly now, today. And a lot of those resources are really good, whether you're looking to learn more about the wellness program, whether you're looking to get a little bit more technical into the annuity pieces. There are a lot of really nice pieces. So, Tommy, if you have any others that you really like using that you want to signal boost pieces that help you, especially as somebody who's come on to EquiTrust recently and has had to learn a lot through Bridge and sell Bridge. What pieces have been effective for you?
Yeah. I'll pull some of those up here for you guys too.
Also, be good to just hear your perspective because I know you haven't, really orbited long-term care your entire career, but you've been
Sure.
around a lot of annuity sales, especially. So, hearing from
Yep.
your perspective to a group of people who are long-term care vets might help. I think bridging that gap is important.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know anything about Bridge coming over to EquiTrust. I didn't know anything about like our PTC, our partial tax conversion privileges outside of Bridge. There's a lot of stuff that excited me about EquiTrust, but coming from just a pure non-LTC backed scenario, when I did my dinner seminars, which were 2021, 2022, 2023, I was doing steak dinner seminars and I was talking about taxes and Social Security and IRMA. And then there was a section on LTC. And literally my slide just said, we have partners that do LTC. The only thing I know is it's kind of expensive and hard to qualify for, but there's some great options out there. That's literally what it said. That is all that it said. So I feel like an idiot. But the good thing is I can recognize that and I'm learning and now have Bridge. Because yeah, when I would say that, people would smirk at me and shake their head like, yeah, it is expensive and it's hard to qualify for and whatnot. I said that in my seminars. It was the second to last slide before I ended the slide. So yeah, some of the pieces that I like, I think this long-term care by the numbers is really powerful. It's a strong one pager, I call it, but it just talks about the numbers behind it. It's more of like the heartstrings type of scenario that none of us really want to talk about or face. Just the sheer costs that we all know that LTC can be a burden to on a home or an individual. And so being able to peel off some of these dollars from another vehicle and utilize it in Bridge and leverage those dollars and try and help somebody, try and save their net worth, try and save their legacy. right? I mean, somebody has a bad health situation that lasts a really long time and they just wiped out everything they've been working to leave behind for loved ones for the past 30, 40, 50 years. It's terrible. Um, I think, Jason, when we had our conversation the other day when you reached out to me to discuss this, I think you and I mentioned like typically when you ask the question, what's the first thing that you would tap into in the event of having a long-term care situation or a health scare would be like an annuity or some other vehicle that you're not getting a lot of growth on. And again, this is a great way to leverage those non-qualified dollars into this contract. Another piece that I'd like to utilize is this one. I think this is awesome. Again,
It's
you
helpful.
can sell on the concept of here's how it works and here's how we can leverage it, right? Just the sheer idea of being able to take from the left pocket and put it into the right pocket, and we can triple those. I mean, look at 80. If you have somebody that's 80 in preferred, they can still get 300% of what they put into the contract. That's awesome. Then they get a 20%, or excuse me, a 20-year roll up at 3% guaranteed, plus wellness credits. So when something does happen, heaven forbid, we've got those dollars to support them. They don't have to tap into the other things. They can utilize this along with Social Security or anything else that they have for income and just try and lessen the blow that they would typically experience if they didn't have something like this on the sidelines.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to talk about on this study group a lot is financial planners, financial advisors as really good referral partners for long-term care specialists going in both directions, right? Because financial planners stand to lose their AUMs if they don't have some sort of allocated plan for their clients for long-term care in some way, shape, or form, or at least know which assets are getting, chucked off the boat first, so to speak,
Yep.
in order to keep floating, right? So I think this is a product that financial advisors, wealth managers can really sink their teeth into. Number one, because they really understand and really like index products for the most part and have a more of an innate understanding of them, but also the guaranteed issue nature of this product makes that process nice and easy. I think for many financial advisors, they're afraid to dive into the underwriting portion of long-term care. I've never had to take my relationship to this level where I'm asking this intimate of questions of my clients. So, don't sleep on bridge just for that piece of it as well. And Jeff's case study is huge that he put in the chat. The first client I put into this was preferred with early onset Alzheimer's, right? I mean, for those who have nowhere to go, this is where they can go if they're in a state where it's available. And I would say even with some of the other conversation going on in the chat for clients who may be borderline or maybe rateable health with other carriers, you could find yourself some really nice leverage with Bridge if they have the, capacity to look at this product. So don't just think of it as I'll run through my book of declines and see how it works out, especially with a lot of these favorable changes that have come about with Bridge since January. There's more reason than ever to also consider it for your clients who are in good health, who are in maybe borderline health with other carriers. This might be a much more competitive scenario than you remember now.
Sure.
Minimum
I
age of
would,
50 as well. It's an extra 5 years of market open to you.
I would agree. I've I saw in the chat about 75 or older ages. I've got that as well. I show 65 and 75. Um, yeah, obviously the growth isn't as much at 75, right? Because the costs uh increase, but we're still doubling the money at 95 and they're walking away with it at 100. 100 is when we force annuitization. So It won't look like 65 where we take 100 grand and turn it into 800,000, obviously, right? Because power of compounding, we don't have enough time behind there, and the cost is obviously more expensive as we go up. But um, yeah, we're still, again, if we're using Dusty side money and we're utilizing it in this product, that's the only one that can do this, then I feel like it's accomplished what it was supposed to accomplish. And if somebody passes away before they can utilize it, at least it's not like another trip, scenario where it's a use it and lose it type of thing, or they've been able to at least grow some money.
And I can totally understand where you're coming from, stacking up 65, 55 to 75.
Yep.
The leverage, the growth is not going to present as well. But when we're thinking about 75-year-olds for long-term care, we're either scraping the ceiling of, the age limits, right?
That's,
Or if we're not scraping the ceiling of the age limits, the underwriting is much, much tougher because unfortunately, in the eyes of a profit-seeking insurance company, we are not as likely at that age to recover from any given condition as somebody 10 years your junior, 15 years your junior. So you're gonna end up with a higher likelihood of rated cases, higher cost of insurance on any product. So I still think this is a very good avenue to look at for folks in that age range. And if you end up preferred, which again, we're targeting about 70% of applicants with Bridge, the leverage still looks pretty nice for that age group.
yeah, it's a unique tool that you can utilize and hopefully help out every one of your clients or every one of your prospects moving forward.
Anybody else with questions for Tommy while we got him here? Awesome. Well, I think that's good to wrap it then. Tommy, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate the thorough presentation. And if you're only a few months into your time at EquiTrust, you got a great future representing the Bridge product. So we really appreciate the time and for being there for us.
Yes, well, thank you for having me on, and I appreciate being here, and I look forward to doing these again with you guys.
Good deal. Thanks. And you guys keep up all the great work at EquiTrust.
Thank you.
For everybody else, appreciate you being here. Be well, and we'll talk to you this time next week. Have a good one.